Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the final round of Base's pick. It's been a very long process. There has been 4 cards to get through this weekend. By the way, I did make a mistake. The first Japanese card is actually taking place Saturday morning and not Friday, so obviously it hasn't taken place yet, but the Sivanati non-Shinga fight will be taking place tomorrow morning, when you guys, or today, I guess the morning, depending on when you watch this one. But as always, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, colleague, relative, associate, enemy, all that good stuff. It's always appreciated. We are here. We are at the final fight of the weekend. We are at the most important fight of the weekend. And yeah, this is where all of my energy and all of my focus are going. Now, as you guys can see, I even smartened up a little bit, went and got the beard under control, all that good stuff, because yeah, we had to come in fresh here. There will be a watch along tomorrow. We're gonna watch the entire card from 6 o'clock until the time it ends. Lord help me. But yeah, with that being said though, look, let's get into it. I don't even need to do any edits at this point. It's one fight and you guys all know what we're here to talk about. So we've got King Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. I don't actually think he's got an alias, but yeah, you've got Artur, who is the IBF, the WBO and the WBC light heavyweight champion. And then you've got Dmitry Bivol, who is the WBA and IBO light heavyweight champion, if you guys consider the IBO anything of note. The Ring Magazine belt will also be on the line. It will be the first time, I think, since 2002 that the Ring Magazine belt is, crowned and defended within the light heavyweight division. I could be wrong there. I mean, maybe Sergey Kovalev had it at one point of time. Actually, no, the last person I think to have the Ring Magazine belt was Andre Ward after Kovalev, which was 2013, I believe, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. So yeah, very significant, very a good period of time. But yeah, look, let's get into it. Looking at this fight, let's look at both fighters for the first moment. So you've got Artur Beterbiev, 20-0, 20 KOs, 39 years of age, turning 40 in January. Most people consider him to be the puncher and to be the knockout specialist within this bout. You've also then got Dmitry Bivol, who is 23-0 with 12 KOs. No, is it 12 or is it 13? No, it's 13 KOs, I believe. So yeah, he is more considered the boxer, a bit more of the movement, more of the distance control, whereas Artur is seen as someone who's going to kind of be able to get into range, walk you down, just sort of beat you up and basically break your will and knock you out. But it's not just a consistent sort of a consistent pressure and consistent damage. It's also punches that are extremely hard. Every time you feel one, it sends shockwaves through your body and you just don't want to take it, so you shell up trying to reduce the amount of damage, allowing him to kind of do what he needs to do. A lot of people take that, but they don't necessarily look at the actual boxing skills of Artur Beterbiev. He is an elite level boxer, not just an elite level puncher. His boxing skills are only rivaled within the light heavyweight division by Dmitry Bivol, and maybe to a similar extent Alexander Vojdik, who is also a very experienced and well-schooled boxer with the fundamentals and the technique. Dmitry Bivol has some of the best feet in boxing right now. The pendulum step has been very noted, that Soviet pendulum step where he's in and out, but he stays within range to such a point where you never quite know if he's out of range or whether he's in range. And somehow that is a way where you will try to throw and he's able to counter you, because you just can never quite get your distance perfect, whereas he knows exactly where his should be. And in that moment you also see the fact that He doesn't take him very long to sort of learn his range and distance within a fight. Usually by the second round, he's got it perfectly timed. And yeah, that's how he gets on top. That's how he takes advantage of opposition. Artur Beterbiev, on the other hand, he's also got tremendous feet, tremendous movement and abilities to cut off the ring, front foot, back foot, also laterally. But he is more about trying to inch into range, normally fighting people that are slightly taller. So he has to find a way to sort of get into range, and he normally does that by employing his jab and out jabbing them, out timing them, sometimes doubling it up just to get closer, to get into their mid-range to a point so that he can start letting go of the short arm and the bent arm shots as opposed to the straight shots. That being said, he's got a full arsenal of every single shot that he needs, and no person has been able to stand up to it thus far. Most of the time you will say, well, the way to beat him or to try and survive the fight is to not engage, is to, not so much run, but to stay on the back foot, picking your moments, and, sort of maybe trying to hit him with something hard that prevents him from being able to step into range. But that never really works, because if you allow him forward momentum, you allow him to get that head of steam, usually it ends up being you that gets frustrated, you that gets tired, you that just gets worn down. He's moving in one way. He's moving forward. You never lose as much energy going forward as you do going back. So the person who is on the back foot, who is on the retreat, is always going to be the person losing momentum. They're going to have to be thinking more about where they are. They can't necessarily see their surroundings, so that's going to be taking a toll on them. The pressure of what's coming in front of them is taking a toll on them. All of these are things that play into Artur Beterbiev's advantage. The one thing at the moment that plays into his disadvantage, or two things if we're going to be honest. Number one is the injury proneness of him as an individual. No one knows about the meniscus tear, how well it's healed, what was the actual extent of the injury, has he come back too soon? All of these things, none of us necessarily know. Outside of that, he is 39, about to become 40. Now, he lives his life totally clean from what we see, so he's a very, very consummate professional when it comes to his work and his dieting, and doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, all of that, doesn't really have those kind of vices. But 39 is still 39 in the sporting world, and it doesn't take long for some of the tools to start to dull and erode as time goes on. So that's how you look at on that side. On the other side, you've got Dmitry Bivol, who is 33. I think he's about to be 34 in December. So he is obviously the younger of the two. You would feel like he's the fresher of the two, but from what we've heard, he is maybe a bit more of the out of the two of them, if you want to put it in terms of percentages, like 0.01%, he may be the lesser disciplined of the two, living in Los Angeles, I believe. So, he kind of has maybe that bit of that more glamorous lifestyle, whereas Artur is, he's both in Russia and also Canada, in Quebec, which is not really a big, going out city, usually quite cold. He's a very much a family man, very good family unit. So you would say one person potentially has a few more distractions than the other, not to mention the fact that at the minute Dmitry Bivol is going through a very public and very messy divorce. So yeah, there's always that kind of to take into consideration as well. But again, we talk about the footwork, the movement. He's got enough power that he stuns you. Everyone who's fought him has said that he hits hard. He hits a lot harder than you think he does, and it's like he'll hit you with one that stuns you, but before you even get the chance to react to maybe shake that one off, he comes in with a barrage and you're just getting stunned left, right and center. He's not sitting down on the shots enough that like they're going to put you out, but they're disturbing you, they're stopping your rhythm, they're blocking everything that you want to do, and they're keeping you tentative to the point where you now don't want to throw. So that's how he's able to control his opposition. So you look at this fight, look at the keys to victory for both guys. Well, ultimately, the keys to victory for Artur Beterbiev is to be first. Be first to the jab, be first to the distance, push Dmitry Bivol back, hit him hit him in the body. Like, don't even headhunt. Basically, just attack the body, attack the arms, get him tired, get him worn down and beaten up, so that you can stop his movement, stop his momentum, and take him out late. That's clearly the keys that you have with him. On the other side, you say the keys to victory for Dimitri Bivol is to stick with Artur. Don't back up. Don't don't overcommit on the inside. You get in 1-2 shots, then you step out when he's trying to throw, angle off to the side, come back in, do it again, step out, and constantly basically change that distance and change that range of motion. So even with the shorter reach of the two, if you're able to always just stay on the outside of range for the most part, you will have the success. He also has to stay off the ropes. He can't just tuck up behind the tight guard and try to take shots, because Artur is definitely hit harder than anyone he's ever been in the ring with before, and that's just a recipe for disaster. Ultimately, you're giving him the opportunity to affect and implement his game plan when you don't need to. Can Dimitri Bivol last 12 rounds at a frenetic pace of constant pendulum stepping in and out of range, throwing shots constantly with very little let up? And can Artur weather that kind of storm? Can he catch him in between the shots? Ultimately, a lot of people have said Dimitri Bivol has to be perfect to win this fight. Artur doesn't have to be perfect, he just has to be consistent. So let's look at how this fight plays out, in my personal opinion. Now, first thing is, I don't know about the level of healthiness in the knee of Artur Beterbiev. That's the first thing. I'm not 100% sure, but he has been very injury prone over the last 5-6 years. Prior to then, he also had very major injuries, shoulder injury, all that sort of stuff. So, he is breaking down to a lesser extent. It's only the fact of his very clean living why he's able to recover from these. My concern and my belief is that he may not have slowed down totally, but I feel like being able to push off of the injured knee, being able to get into range quicker and at the right pace is going to be a problem. I think he's going to be half a step slower due to that injury. And I also think that Dimitri Bivol is going to try to employ not just his pendulum stepping in and out, but he's also going to try to angle to the sides to make Artur have to turn on a dime, turn in a tight circle. And by doing that, he's going to have to put pressure on that knee and that meniscus to turn with Bivol. I don't think Bivol is going to try to take center ring like he has done in his last few fights, but I do think he's gonna stick close enough to Beterbiev to be able to get just in and out, make those angular movements, and just basically make him have to work those legs and to test them out to see if they're actually working in fine order. Now, a lot of people will look at Bivol and say, oh, well, he's the pure boxer, he's going to box and move and sort of try to find range. But in his most recent fights, from Canelo to Zurdo Ramirez, Lyndon Arthur, Malik Zanad, even though they're all different calibers of opposition, he's actually been on the front foot. He's been using his jab. He's actually been pushing people back. Zurdo Ramirez, he pushed him back consistently. Canelo Alvarez, after the first couple of rounds, he decided to push him back also. Lyndon Arthur, he basically bullied him around the ring the entire fight. The same thing with Malik Zanad. He stood in the middle of the ring and traded with him, sat on his shots, and got his first stoppage in 9 fights. So I think ultimately the way that this fight plays out is Dimitri Bivol is going to stick with Artur. He's never going to give him more than half a step's distance of range between the two of them, so Artur doesn't get a chance to make a 1-2 step, throw a shot and get into range that way. I think he's going to try to use a double jab at times to push Artur back, and then follow that up with the straight right behind it, followed up with the straight left, maybe even a sort of a left hook, taking a slight angle out from the side to follow up the combination, then step back out, make Artur try to come in to connect and rinse and repeat. I think that's going to be his tactic. Artur Beterbiev, I do think he's going to be able to time him in between a couple of shots, and I think he's going to have some moments where he has success, possibly even buzzing Bivol from, I would say, even a body shot, not even a head. I feel like the head is going to be quite hard to hit consistently, but I feel like the body is going to be there, and I do think Artur Beterbiev is going to catch Bivol and, you know, hurt him quite a few times downstairs in the first, I'd say the first half to the first 2/3 of this fight. Ultimately though, I actually see, just due to some of the movement in the first half and some of the energy reserves that Bivol manages to keep in the tank, and the fact that Artur's had to move quite a lot, spinning left to right, you know, turning on that injured knee, potentially being slower to react to punches because he just can't quite get out of the way as much as he wants to. I can see a scenario here where there's enough consistent pressure from Dmitry Bivol to start wearing Artur Beterbiev down in the second half of the fight, predominantly like the third or the third to fourth quarter. I see a scenario where Artur Beterbiev ends up slightly tired, a bit hurt, walks onto a shot, gets knocked down for the third time as a professional, manages to get back up, but Dmitry Bivol ends up then smartly but unleashing pressure, going in for the kill, and having the referee eventually wave the fight off after a sustained amount of punishment, maybe over 1 to 2 rounds. So very bold prediction, but my prediction is that Dmitry Bivol is going to end up winning this fight via TKO stoppage around about the 11th round. I think it's going to be very, very late on in the fight. I think Artur Beterbiev is going to put up a big effort. I think he's going to get stopped on his feet, so he's not going to get knocked out, but I do think the scenario, the referee will decide to wave it off, and that's my prediction. I think very recently I've seen a couple of people say that they could see a scenario where the stoppage happens for Dmitry Bivol, but the majority, 98% of the people picking Dmitry Bivol are going points, and about 99% of the people picking Artur Beterbiev are going via KO. My prediction is Dmitry Bivol to win this fight on via a TKO late stoppage around about the 11th round. Leave yours down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Ultimately, one of us will be right on the night, one of us will be wrong, but it's going to be fun to watch the fight together and find out for ourselves. With that being said, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you very much for watching. But that's Base's final pick locked.